Also Credit Karma, which a lot of my clients have been using Credit Karma because it's supposed to be more user-friendly and there's no fee for the credit scores. Some of my clients have told me that they only get 2, they may not get all 3, but a lot of people like that one. The next thing is capacity. Many of the credit reports now, when you use like Free Credit Report or Credit Karma, they give you your debt to income ratio because your debt to income ratio actually affects your credit score. So it's one of the ratios that the bank looks at very heavily, but it's also a ratio that drives your credit score. And that just means what is the ratio of your debt that you've accumulated and your income. Can you reasonably afford to pay the debt that you have accumulated? Usually the ratio that they want is 60-40. So just make sure, it's like I tell people, just make sure you control your debt. Make sure that you are not over encumbered. If you cannot comfortably pay your personal debt, chances are the bank is not going to lend you money on a venture if you're that strapped personally. And you have no collateral and no assets. You have to have collateral and assets. So collateral is anything that you own that has value. Okay? Now, when I say that, I had one person say, well, anything that means like my clothes, no, I mean like real estate investments and things like that, retirement fund, something of value. And at the end of the day, and this is the part that many clients don't like to hear, but at the end of the day, if you're borrowing $100,000, the bank is going to want you to have about $20,000 of your own funds to put in. Their favorite expression is, if you want me to put some skin in the game, I need you to put some skin in the game. If you want me to invest in you, then you invest in you first. So most of the time, the amount of investment they're willing to do is 80%. I have had 2 people who come in, and when I tell you they were squeaky clean, they were clean because they were experienced in this. They had opened businesses before. Open, close. These were experienced businessmen. They knew what they were doing and they were clean. They had their assets in order, their collateral well documented, their credit scores were in the 800s, and they had cash in the bank. One of them got a 90%, and the other one got an outside guarantee of 95%. Now, they weren't SBDC clients, these are my personal clients, but they did get it. They did get the funding. They're living in Louisiana just like you, so whether they're an SBDC client or a personal client, it doesn't matter, right? They're still small business owners who were able to get these things done. Once again, remember, they want you to put some skin in the game, and the most important thing to remember over here is unencumbered. So you can't take money that you've pledged as collateral for one loan and then use it again over here for this loan. They want to be first. You want to be first in line to let claim on those assets, okay? And some people have asked me about their personal residence. The banks don't usually want your personal residence as collateral for a business loan. Now, have some people taken out equity loans on their homes and then financed their business? Yes. But for the bank to do a business loan with your home as equity is usually no. They don't like that. Business assets, first mortgage on a business real estate is good. They'll do that. Then sometimes if you're doing an expansion and you own the building that your business is housed in, the banks will do that. They'll give you money on that asset. If you're a real estate investor and you have properties that are paid for and you want to draw down on one of those properties to finance a new venture you want to do, they'll usually do that. Accounts receivable, inventory, and equipment, and that's so important. This one, because I have clients who come in. I have one who's phenomenal, and he has awesome inventory. So he's sitting there, and I'm asking, what does he own? I said, what do you own for the business? The business has assets. Oh, yeah, Maria, but my God, it's just so much. You know how long it would take me to go through and account for all that? And as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, oh, wow, do we not have more problems than I originally thought here? Because it should already be accounted for, right? I mean, if your business already owns it, shouldn't you have already accounted for it? You should already have an inventory list. So after we got through looking at everything, we had well over $100,000 in inventory. I mean, really good inventory that sells really quickly. You know, really good, valuable inventory. So make sure you know what you have in equipment, inventory, and accounts receivable. And this is a guy also, he didn't have any accounts receivable because the way he ran his business was, if you can't pay for it, then you can't take it. Because he doesn't, he's like, so he really, he had a really good system going, a really good product. Personal assets, second mortgage on your own, but like I say, in Central Louisiana, this is SBDC, but in Central Louisiana, I have found that the banks are really reluctant to do that. Life insurance policies. Haven't really seen one of those happen in the old days, which I call like in the early 2000s. I saw a lot more creativity in terms of loosening up funds than I see now. Things like that I don't see as common as I used to. Cash value, it used to be like if you're a life insurance policy with the cash value, they would take that as collateral. I'm not seeing that as much. More on capacity, we already went into it. It's the ability to repay. When they look at capacity, they look at your ability to repay. Not only, if you look in here, there's a personal financial statement, right? Whatever lender you go to, they're going to ask you to fill out a personal financial statement. Be exhaustive as possible. This is not a time to be shy or modest or say, well, I don't want them in my business. Well, apparently you do want them in your business because you're asking them for money. So you need to be willing to share to show them what you have to put up, what kind of person you are. And the reason why they want that personal financial statement is because they want to know your ability to repay the debt in the event that the business goes up, folds. And I know it doesn't sound fair because you're like, okay, well, so you're asking me for 20% down, you want me to be able to pay the debt in the event that the business folds, and then you want me to show enough capacity and collateral to ensure 100% of the loan. It's not fair, but that's business. And they're going to look at your resume, the condition of the economy. That's where your business plan comes into play. If you can't show them that the economy will support your business idea, pretty much you're going to think the capacity to repay the business is never going to be productive enough to repay on its own. And this was not in the slides originally, but a couple of classes ago we added it because legally you have to have good character. Okay? It's very important. If you have been convicted for money laundering, espionage, fraud, insurance fraud, or anything like that, that will hinder you from securing a loan. Okay? If you have been convicted of those things, it can be an obstacle to you obtaining financing. So you need to understand that. If you have not been convicted, if sometimes you're found innocent of it, just be able to document it, but just be aware that you do have to have good character is important. The most common thing I'm hearing is, if I defaulted on a student loan, can I get a loan? What is a student loan? It's a federal debt. It is illegal for a bank to loan you money when we have defaulted on the federal debt. Okay, so you need to make good. If you have child support, come on now, pay child support. Financial statements. These three right here, these are the, this is why I usually take a break, but I'm just going to introduce them and then we can take a break, okay? The financial statements is a thing that most people come into our office for because it's the most intricate and it's one of those specialized areas where as a business owner you may not be fully, that's usually what you hire an accountant or somebody to do for you on an ongoing basis, but we provide that service free of charge at the SBDC because it can also be one of the most costly startup functions that you have. So we help with projected cash flow statements, income statements. Balance sheet, not so much. If you're existing, yes, balance sheet. If you're not existing, not so much. Okay, I mean, the banks just aren't. Usually when the banks call me or when the banks refer a client to me, 9 out of 10 times, they just want the cash flows. They want the projected cash flows and projected income statements. And if the person has accumulated any assets, they would like for me to just do an asset statement, but not a full balance sheet. So we're going to take a quick break in case anyone needs to go to the restroom. Also, for those of you that haven't met, or Heather has met, we'll just take a few minutes to do what you need to do, get some water, take a bathroom break, and then we'll start up again in about 5 minutes.
And I'm also going to come around and get your registration forms for those of you that's already filled it out. What are you doing? I haven't had a chance to meet you. You look so good.
I'm not. Oh, I wish like that, but we've been coming back and forth here for like 20 some odd years. My husband is cool. And so
I can come back around.
We don't have any Pam Hoffman is here. Dr. Hoffman is her husband. Our big surgeon. She's a good friend of mine, and I know your name because I have a cousin little girl that so she's like, I've been visiting these kids over here, and I'm like, wow. So I know your name, but I recognize your face before I saw you. I never remember when the name.
I'll give you my comment while I'm saying that, just in case you get some pretty pictures. How old are your boys?
5 and 5. And they're about 9-year-old days. He really does. That's his friend. He said he's gonna marry her when he grows up.
Good. This is interesting. This is good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Pretty good. Well, mostly, I have Christmas that was there. And so I had the other guy who was right back there. Make visits to different facilities, things like that, where, make it. I also do, and organize too, so I do organizing for people. Or the therapy is grown, so I kind of coaching less. The stuff that wants to be money.
So is the therapy, is it a problem? I mean, is it
No,
a surgery like that?
no, and this meeting today, I probably don't fit right into it, but it's sort of spiritual knowledge and to the things that, right now, what I have is first grade. But it's 1, 2, 2, I need confidence. So, that helps me with some of my
You need to definitely call me. Just call me, and I'll give you
No
the
problem.
Yes,
I'll give you his name and contact. Because he's gonna make permission, he's like, whatever you want to tell them. As long as I think that, you know, because confidential.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and you're the same one.
Thank you.
details, which there are.
I just wanted to make sure excuse me. I try to talk to everybody, so like when I'm talking, I can say my kind of businesses. And what do you looking to do?
Well, I was just telling you that I'm probably more, but this is kind of getting me zoned into details. I have and it is growing to the point where because this is all on the pocket for me. And so I probably need to go down a different avenue that I think this will kind of, like it is.
Call me, just send me an email, and I'll connect you with some of the people in the company that can help you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Just call me or send me an email, and I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
My daughter is very into pets and animals, and so I have to do it, because if she brings home one more breast she's gonna find a new place. And you guys are all doing some business like your daddy. I saw you just that once ago. What kind of business are you guys in? I know somebody else does it. And it is a very untapped market. Because they have more business than they can get. No, I mean, really, they have more demand for their services than they can address. That's awesome. Okay, and he's got you out here like this, right? Taking notes and paying attention. Hi, how are you? And what type of business are you? Construction. Okay. All right, cool. And are you already open, or are you starting this new venture? Awesome, awesome, so that's an expansion. Hi.
Hi, I'm Laura Gates.
Hi.
Okay. And I'm a painter. Oh, wonderful. So I'm just doing, I'm a resident.
Okay, so what's your,
Okay. But I'm in the process of setting up LLC, and I have all kinds of questions, especially concerning the changes in tax structures, central districts, you know, they removed all that. So, oh yeah, that was the way of this temporary. So, are you available for phone calls concerning, like, really, it's like,
I know, we have to abide SBA regulations. I have to be with you face-to-face and have you sign a disclosure form before I can start with you. So that first time face-to-face, it is showing like 15, 20 minutes, just for you to sign. And then after that, I'm available by phone call, email, whatever you need.
okay, so set up that first appointment, just you or?
Just email to the office, and yeah, I'll put you on the schedule. Email it for us, I'm booked it on.
Future training minutes and stuff
Okay.
like that.
You did, what's your name? Okay, what are you speaking for? This was me, I'm not only since I was bringing it down, but it just made me, sometimes I'm on the calendar, multiple people on there, so maybe
But I haven't changed the name.
All kinds of masonry work from this work
They're all over. But I haven't changed the name.
Yeah, I would think.
This is the use of
No, I've already talked to them. Well, you gotta go to
you'll
a
get
distributor,
all the,
you gotta sell straight to them. And that's the problem right now, I can't sell it online because I have a
I'll add you in contact with us on how to know what to say.
It's just, yeah.
That's fine.
Oh, okay, I just don't want to miss you. So, she should come out, Tony is not. Okay, that's the market. I spoke to you. I spoke to you. Okay. Yeah.
I have heard from my son, JC.
I remember speaking with them because there was like, I remember Woodward, just the only one in Woodward.
And the mayor is the one
I know. And I guess, yeah, I need right now, and I'm like,
Well, you need to be clear by it. And I'm like, you don't want to look, make sure that.
no, I feel bad. Situation every year that I'm so impressed.
Steve, after the session.
And he's got a good job, and I think that your son, yeah, I think that he's got a good job.
Just so that's where I think he's taking a little bit of my
Advanced so well, you know, I remember when we did a signature, he was just a young student, and helping out there.
yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's been there as long as we've been able to either internal or what's really nice is,
Okay, we'll get started again. Okay, so I really enjoyed meeting with each of you and try to meet with each of you and find out a little bit about you. So when I'm up here speaking, we can try to focus on the different industries that you each in. So like I said before we took the break, if you're a startup, you won't have financial statements, right? So we do pro forma or projected financial statements, which is an estimate based on industry standards. So what are your competitors and other people in the industry doing? That's what we use to base the projections on. In your packet, you're going to see we put a cash flow statement, and we're going to go over this, but the cash flow is one of the most important. Then you're going to have an income statement and a balance sheet. For some reason, the income statement is not here, but we do have some samples that we can go back and show you when you come to the office. And then once again, like I said, the balance sheet is, if you're already existing, yes, we will have to do some balance sheets, and even to the point where we can do pro forma off of that. But usually for a startup, they just want that cash flow and income statement.
Maria, this is it.
Oh, there it is. Oh, no, this is personal. This is personal. But that's okay, we can use this. Okay, so if you see this cash flow, it's big because if we made it small, you wouldn't be able to get everything on it. So that's the only reason this is big. And we wanted you to really see, get a good idea. Now keep in mind, when you look at this is a general one, okay? So these have to be tailored to your particular industry, your particular business, but this is a general one that gives you the most common categories. Now, remember earlier on, we were talking about the total asset needs schedule, and I was telling you how much I really enjoy the total asset needs schedule because it summarizes your startup costs and then your ongoing monthly. Another reason why it's so important to do that and do that well is because if you do it well, it'll feed right into this. If you do it, if you sit down with me and you take time and we do it correctly, it feeds right into your cash flow statement and right into your income statement.
Could you email all of us the total asset needs schedule?
Sure. As long as you provide Heather with your email address, remember the forms that she had you fill out? Make sure that your email address is on there or on the sign-in sheet. If you can just just make sure she has your email address, okay?
Okay.
But, so if you do that correctly, it will flow into your cash flow analysis and feed into your income statement. Now, does that mean that you're done? No, it doesn't. But it means that your life is a lot easier. All we have to do then is figure out your revenues, your expected revenues, your expected cost of goods sold, and things like that. That's not going to feed in from the total asset needs. But these other things like your insurance and your rent and your lease and your personnel costs, that will feed in really easily and is automatically calculated. So we just have to focus on your cost of goods sold and your revenues. That's it. The importance of this for you and the bank is to show whether or not the business venture that you're looking to pursue is profitable, okay? And I tell people all the time, don't let passion overrule logic. If we're sitting down and we crunch all the numbers and it comes out and I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, you don't have enough money coming in to cover your expenses, even if you are working 20 hours a day in production or whatever. Okay, that's reality. So you need to understand that. Okay, that's the purpose of doing this, to make sure what you're looking to undertake is a profitable venture. Also, another thing another important aspect of this is to make sure that you have enough working capital to adequately cover your expenses. We're going to do the total asset needs, right? We're going to do the startup costs. We're going to bring that over to your cash flows. And then we're going to figure out, based on our projections, how much you will earn and how long it will take you to earn that. So we want to make sure that if we're asking for 3 months of working capital, that's enough. We also, you know the old saying, time is money, right? Well, we also want to make sure that we're not asking for too much working capital so that you're borrowing more than you need. So it goes both ways. Another thing that this cash flow and, the total asset needs and your income statements, it also takes into account, you see how you have certain licenses and permits that you have to pay for? Or your startup costs, it's a one-time fee, right? But certain licenses and permits are annual. So kind of like your mortgage company does with your escrows, how they set aside a little bit every month so that at the end of the year when the bill comes due, they pay it. That's what you should be doing as a business. You should have all of these accounted for to the point where when you do your expected expenses, you're putting aside a little bit every month, so at the end of the year, when you get these costs coming through, your insurance, your taxes, your licenses, and things like that. You see on the next screen, I have tax and record keeping. All of that can easily be paid, okay? You don't want it to be a hardship on the business. Imagine I'm a bank, I'm looking at your cash flows, and I see you have 11 months of positive cash flows, and then in month 12, wow, you have all these huge expenses hitting, and you don't have enough funds on hand to pay them at one time, right? Another way to look at it is, let's say I'm a bank, and I look at this and you're doing really, really good, you're managing money really well, and you have all these huge expenses hitting at the end of the year. If you didn't have a good accountant, tax person, CPA managing your records, then it's incumbent upon you to make sure that you have that cash on hand, that you didn't spend it or invest it elsewhere, and you have enough cash on hand to pay those debts. That's why mortgage is escrow. Because that way it's not incumbent upon the borrower to remember to pay those debts. The banks feel more comfortable if you're responsible. Keep business and personal expenses separate. It's another important part of knowing your financials and doing these financials well. You cannot commingle funds. It is illegal. Okay? Your personal assets is your personal income is your personal. Your business is your business. They have to be separate. If you are not good at accounting, then pay somebody to do it for you. There's also really good accounting software out there, like we both mentioned at the start of the session. There's QuickBooks classes we're going to be offering in August. It's going to be a really good class, and if you are not really good at that and you're interested in doing it, I know you guys have a multi-member entity about to go. Whoever's good with numbers should try to attend that class. Understand how QuickBooks is run. That way you're tracking from the get-go, from the very beginning, you're tracking your expenses properly. If you loan money to the company, make sure you show it as a capital infusion, owner investment, to account for your personal investment in that business. Make sure that, and the tax ID numbers and other federal tax issues, you can go to irs.gov, and they have a small business section. After you do your business plan, you have everything in order, and you know how you're going to form it and everything. Some people use an attorney. We used an attorney when I started our business, and the attorney did all that for us. By the way, that's my husband, so in case somebody saw me go up and hug him and stuff. And we paid an attorney to do it all for us just because it was, you're a small business owner and you have so many different things going on. That's something that you really need. It's better to do it right. Because one mess up with the IRS and then you have to do everything all over again.
And they will never leave you alone.
They will never leave you alone. She is 100% right. So just do it right. For the state, you go to rev.state.la.us and to find out about revenues. It's so important that if you're selling a product, you have to pay sales taxes, and the state will aggravate you to no end if you don't pay them their sales taxes. They really will. But more importantly, if you go through and you're doing a service and then you click, yeah, give me a sales tax number, and you click yes, and they'll send it to you, and unless you tell them otherwise, every year they'll send you an estimated sales tax due to them. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's better if you just pay somebody a couple $100 and have them do everything, register you the right way according to your articles and stuff. And there are numerous attorneys that will do it. They'll do your articles of organization if you're an LLC or a corporation. They'll do their, they'll do your articles as well. No matter how you want to form, they'll do it for you, and then they'll make sure that you're registered the proper way and that you have the right tax coding and everything so you're comfortable. And we gave you that green flyer that has the other local parish and city and parish numbers because they want their cut too, so you have to register with them. Some things that we have found that you wouldn't think in central Louisiana, but we actually have people who are dealing with trademarks and copyrights. So that's understandable, right? Trademarks, but patents. We have quite a few people in central Louisiana who have patents for really unique items. If you do have intellectual property that needs to be registered, there are significant costs associated with registering patents, significant costs with registering patents. Trademarks and copyright is substantial for a small business, but nothing near patents. But trademarks and copyright can start.
20,000 plus.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, so you need to really make sure that you, if that needs to be something we discussed at the outset, so we can capture that in your costs. And believe it or not, we have had people who, as we're going through it, and then they'll say, oh, you know, Maria, I forgot to tell you. And I'm like, wow, that really throws everything off, you know, because it's, yeah, well, it's just a little side thing I have, and I'm thinking about introducing it to the business, and wow. Employment laws. You need to be aware of basic employment laws or you will get yourselves in trouble. We are trying to get a training class together with an HR specialist to come and do something for small businesses on HR, but there are numerous laws that you need to be aware of so that you don't wind up with a lawsuit. And also, you know, everybody wants to do everything the right way, but many times we don't do it because we just don't know. It's not, you know, nobody means anything bad, you just don't know any different. So you need to brush up on that. We're trying to put together a seminar on HR so people can know. You have to know about unemployment compensation / workman's compensation. You need to know about that. The American, everybody calls it Obamacare, but it's the access to affordable health care. You need to know about that because the laws regarding how many hours your employee works, whether or not you have to put them on health care, you have to offer health, all those laws you need to be aware of because that feeds into your expenses. You know, so you need to be aware of that. And there's also required postings that you have to have in your office on equal opportunity and labor laws and minimum wage law and everything. Nowadays, when you register a business, the state will send you, or someone who contracts with the state, it's not the state, so I can't say the state, but there's a corporation, a company that actually must have an agreement with the state because they send you for like $89, you can pay them $89 and they'll send you every posting that you're legally required to have. You can also print them off free on the website, but if you want to be sure that you don't miss one, they'll send you the complete packet for like $89.
What do you mean by postings?
That's
Your
like
responsibilities
yes,
here, okay.
yes, like the employment law postings,
Okay.
like, you know, it's illegal to discriminate, you,
Okay.
you know, if you are required to do the I-9 thing, American with Disabilities, minimum labor law, like in terms of the wages and minimum wage. You're supposed to have those posted. You're also supposed to, you should also have your occupancy license or certificate posted in a very conspicuous area. So things like that, they'll, but once you register